let's see what the Venezuelan people are saying before we even get into this.
Okay, as a Venezuelan American, I got some shit to say. My family, my parents, my sister, my extended family, all lost everything. Their work, their savings, their investments, gone. Wiped out by a narco dictatorship that has held Venezuela in a death grip for over 25 years. And what happened to my family has happened to millions, and yes, millions.
And they want you to believe that Cuba and Colombia, oh, that they don't have the same shit going on that they got going on. The exact same type of regime, the exact same type of cartels. You got watch, man. Go watch this show on Netflix called Narcos, and there's actually Narcos 1. I think it went for like 3 seasons, and then they had another type of version of Narcos when it was Narcos talking about Mexico. See, some of these movies and these shows, if you look at it, yeah, they expound on some of this stuff, but you can clearly see that the ties between the Colombians, the Venezuelan cartels, the Mexican cartels, they find peace when they talk about money, okay? And in certain areas, they can find a way to work. Yeah, they do war against each other for however it is, but they also hold one thing in common. They got the government under there. This is not like the United States, my people, where they can come knocking on your door if you have meth in your house and you make meth or some crazy stuff like that. These jokers have meth houses, and the government ain't gonna do shit. Because they bought and paid for. They bought and paid for.
The Venezuelan exodus is the second largest displacement crisis on earth after Syria. This is not just a tragedy. It is one of the great humanitarian disasters of our time. But the suffering doesn't end there. This regime has jailed hundreds of political prisoners. Thousands have been murdered simply for speaking out. More than a third of the population has fled. 1/3. Not for better opportunities or for the American dream, but to survive, to live, because staying often means death. And while the world may see Venezuela as a collapsed state, what it is in reality is an occupied one. Our territory, our natural resources, and our institutions have been overrun by hostile foreign powers. Iranian militias, Chinese corporations, Russian intelligence, all exploiting our country with impunity. Venezuela is no longer just a local crisis. It is now a geopolitical threat that endangers the entire Western Hemisphere. It has become a launchpad for an authoritarian expansion in the Americas. And in the midst of all of this, one woman has dared to lead the charge for freedom. Maria Corina Machado. In 2024, against every odd, she led a peaceful democratic uprising that won the election. Her team smuggled physical voting receipts out of the country, hard proof of victory that the regime tried to burn.
And she ended up, I was looking at, literally, just recently, I think she got the Nobel Prize and she gave it to Trump. And she ended up fleeing the country. She was worried about her daughter. Her daughter was able to get word out that she was okay once her daughter met up with her. But imagine having to flee the country because you won the presidency, but the cartels are so entrenched, you can't take presidency because they don't want anything going against their agenda.
Her courage has lit a fire in the hearts of millions of Venezuelans, desperate to believe that change is still possible. But now some have questioned her decision to dedicate her Nobel Prize to Donald Trump. Okay, I get that. But here's the truth. It was a brilliant strategic move in the global chessboard of politics. Maria Corina is no fool. She knows exactly the kind of man Trump is. She knows how much he campaigned for it, loudly and relentlessly, to win that very same prize. She knows how symbolic and personal that recognition is to him. And precisely because of that, she understood that this gesture might be the thing that keeps his attention focused on Venezuela at a time when U.S. presence and pressure in the Caribbean is rising. She didn't dedicate that award to flatter him. She did it to protect and preserve the one kind of power that could help shift the course of history. Because for her, this isn't about pride. It's not about optics. It's about freedom. And let's be very clear. Maria Corina is not asking for the U.S. to invade Venezuela.
And I think when I looked at hold on, let's go to the next one. when you look at it, it's easy to turn around and to point the finger and say, "Hey, Trump is doing this because he's trying to get money, trying to get that bag." I believe Trump is trying to get that bag. I believe that he's really just going into a space right
Now a
now
message to my English
where
speaking friend.
if it can be a win-win and he can expand the territory. Let's dial this back for a second. We have to come to a place as just Americans, Black Americans, and realize that there is a lot that's happening outside of America that African Americans, even some white Americans, even whites, they're not up to date on. And it's easy, I get it, because when you come from the hood, when you come from certain places, when you never was really exposed to that, for someone to say, hey, you need to know what's going on in geopolitics because it does affect your pocketbook. Matter of fact, it affects your real estate. It affects your block. It affects the land that you own. It affects all of that. You scratch your head and you wonder, some people like, I don't even own real estate, or I may own it and my mom may own it, or I sold my last house. They don't care. Geopolitics and what's taking place with them directly affects us. Because Trump had to make these moves, and I looked at it clearly. I was looking at it. I said, damn, you got China already that's beating in the doors of Venezuela and South America. China's literally loaning money to a lot of these countries. They've done it for African countries. They do it a lot for African countries. They put them in a huge amount of debt, or they build some type of economic freeway that allows them to funnel money through them. So when they come, the Chinese government comes in full force. They now have a foothold in that area. To have China have a foothold in Venezuela and South America, in some of these South American countries, and they do have it already. Don't get it twisted. If the cartels are owned by, if the governments are owned by the cartels, you got to believe the cartels will do business with whomever, and they'll do business with China also. They'll do business with China. They'll do it. Why wouldn't they? Their common enemy is the United States. Why wouldn't they? It doesn't benefit them not to. Why? Why wouldn't they? They have a good reason to do business with cartels. I mean, I'm saying with cartels have good reason to do business with China every time. And Trump knows that, because the more you take the largest oil reserve, and we got to realize this too, our relationship should be strategic. Look, I keep jumping on this, but that's the reason why we had NATO. That's the reason we got this issue with NATO. Trump said they needed to pay what they wasn't paying. And they wasn't paying it because we were flipping the bill, most of it. Why is it that it's an issue with allies that can't pay? Like, we're like, hey, we have a problem with forcing our allies to pay their bills. They're not really strong enough to even be our allies if they can't really cover a certain bill. They can't cover the money. They can't cover the bag. They can't. So we've got to get in position for China. China's going to make a move on Taiwan. We are literally, and some people think that we're on the cusp of World War III, a potential World War III. If China makes a move on Taiwan, we will collapse as a country once they have a foothold in Taiwan's chip infrastructure. Man, I'm sitting back listening to Wall Street Trapper today, and he threw this one company out that was a really good company. He threw it right out here. TSM. They built, is a Taiwanian company. Father, look, my daughter, how she texted me in the middle of a live stream. Can her boyfriend go to the mall? No, you can't do nothing. No. You can't do that. No. Listen, I'm big. Hold on one second. Hey, I'm on a live stream, babe. Are y'all on the way to the mall and you're telling me, or are you guys already at the mall? Or you want to go to the mall? Okay.
I'm coming home now. I was asking, can you come over so we can go to the mall?
Why don't you call your mom and ask her if it's cool? I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it.
Okay.
This is what I don't want. You guys are gonna go out. You go to the mall, come back. Don't clown
Yeah,
around.
no, we're coming back. No, Dad, I have to start on my hair by 6 p.m. We're coming back. We're meeting up with some friends at the mall too, so it's not.
I expect you to make good decisions. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. We'll talk.
Okay, bye.
You gotta be hands in. And I know it's a lot. Yeah, honestly, we look at it. You gotta. Most of us, we have families, or we've got careers, we got businesses. Juggling that and then staying up to date on what's happening globally, it does. For me, it affects me. I love checking it out because I've had rehabbers who've done my basement and done some of my projects out of Venezuela. And I kind of wondered, I was like, okay, both of them coming from Venezuela. What's going on? Like one of my contractors, when I found out he was Venezuelan special forces, ex-special forces for Venezuela, and boy, I couldn't help but talk to him like, hey man, what's going on? What happened? So he started telling me a lot of stuff about Venezuela and things like that, but always getting approached by cartels or cartel related people in that type of space because Venezuelan ex special forces, you've got a unique set of skills, right? That's what you expect. In the United States, also, I'm not talking about going back to Venezuela to visit and being approached. In the United States, it's a lot of stuff that we take for granted, but we're so inundated with our everyday lives. Why is this important? This is important on various reasons, on various posts, but it's going to affect off the top. It's going to affect our oil reserves, our ability, because Trump will run Venezuela. I'm telling you, he will run Venezuela until he deems it's okay to give it back to the VP. I'm sitting back to watch. How is this going to affect the VP and her standing with some of these cartel heads? Are we going to see a lot of smoke that comes from CNN concerning it? Because they will easily ignore the fact that people have been liberated.
Because I'm already seeing people are organizing protests, hands off Venezuela, let's defend Maduro, we love dictators. Do not for a moment.
Hey, like, follow. Leave a comment, guys. Definitely, I shout you out on any of those super chats.
Your hatred and disdain for Donald Trump, an unsavory character, have you defending the dictator of my country that was destroyed by him and Chavez and their system 20 years ago. We Venezuelans are very, very happy that our dictator has been arrested, removed, and will be put through a trial. It's the first time we're seeing justice in 26 years. Now let's hope that they get the rest of the criminals out of Venezuela, and then we can return home.
But if you tell that, if you tell that to liberals, it is very arrogant to believe that you now need to hold the United States accountable for freeing people in a foreign country that needed to be freed, that their freedom and their liberty benefits us as well as them. It is very arrogant. I think it's the most arrogant thing that you could actually do.
Venezuela. People are criticizing Trump for what he did in Venezuela. They say he bombed and kidnapped our president. No. Let me be clear. That man was never our president. He's a dictator. We didn't vote for him. Our elections were stolen. And when we protested, our kids were sent to prison. Minors were tortured. Girls were forced to prostitute themselves in prisons just to get food, to get a piece of bread. And where were all of you then? Where were all of you, liberals? Where were all of you? Where were all of you? You said nothing. You did nothing. But now you suddenly care about international law? I mean, now you all talk about human rights? Maduro didn't lead Venezuela. He kidnapped an entire country. So, no, Trump didn't kidnap anyone. No, he did not. He removed our kidnapper. And for that, we're thankful. You can divide politics all you want. But don't tell Venezuelans, do not tell Venezuelans how to feel about being free from a dictatorship.
My family's still in Venezuela, and I've been looking for...
How do people in our country possess the level of arrogance to believe the narrative, their self-proclaimed narrative, that some of these countries are better off not having American intervention in any way, shape, or form. But yet, here, we advocate, we let them come over, and then tell them what's going on here isn't fair. We really should care about all the people. And it's weird. Like, to me, when I was looking, I said it's only convenient for them when it's convenient. When it fits their narrative, it's only a convenient thing. And America can be brainwashed every freaking day. Think about it. Through propaganda that paints the narrative that this is something that was evil that was done.
To the stage for so many years. Thank you, President Trump.
I'm so happy because now Venezuela is free.
People have been gathering to celebrate the fall of Nicolas Maduro's regime. Many of the people here told me they fled Venezuela either during Maduro's regime or during that of his predecessor, Hugo Chavez. Behind me, also people chanting. Just a few moments ago, they were chanting, "It's fallen, the regime has fallen." The mood here is absolutely ecstatic.
I don't know how the regime has fallen when the VP is still in place. That's the one I don't quite get. I don't see how that works out.
El pueblo finalmente está libre. El pueblo llora por su libertad. Gracias a los Estados Unidos por liberarnos. Y viva la libertad. Oye, el dictador cayó. Finalmente. Estamos libres, estamos libres.
They don't look like they're upset about too much right now.
My grandma, my family, I have many people that died because the situation in Venezuela, many people, this impact us in a way that you cannot imagine. We never will imagine that this will finish in this way, but we are very happy, and we now are in peace because we can combat and we will combat to Venezuela to rebuild our country, to make a better Venezuela.
We've been fighting for more than 2 decades to try to overthrow this dictatorship. While it looks like they're just invading and, wreaking havoc in a country, that's not the case. No one else has done anything to break this dictatorship that's had us under terror, under torture.
Under terror and under torture. How many times have you seen on the mainstream CNN and MSNBC videos of Venezuelans under terror and torture? They never spoke. I know I haven't seen anything about it prior to that. I know. Nobody ever, there was never a crisis, sort of like when Nicki Minaj went, and we'll talk about Nicki, went on and started talking about what was happening to Christians in Nigeria. There was never, nobody ever, no, there was none at all. That's crazy. It's crazy that now there is so a obsession with discrediting Trump's run in helping Venezuelan people get free. Even though Trump still hasn't removed the regime. They just took the head off of the regime.
Led the economy to the ground. No one else has done anything. So whether it's the ideal outcome for some people or whether it's not, the fact stands that this is the only opportunity that we have had to actually get freedom.
We don't know when is your last day when you live there in Venezuela. You don't know if you're gonna make it home, if you go to uni or if you go to buy bread, you know? So I think we've been living scared for so long, and that's why we're not scared to open up our mouths right now and say we're happy, we're celebrating that Maduro what was taken, and we're really excited for what's come for Venezuela.
It's not about the president of Venezuela, it's about what's happening in Latin America. That a country can come and take on to a president and take him away. It's about the sovereignty of a country that needs to be left alone. The country can resolve their own issues. I think the issue of, or the reasons for this of saying that it's to do with drugs is not true.
You know, one thing I also noticed is you had people like her that actually jump up and say that it's not true, that the drug situation wasn't true, and they're Venezuelans. And what I found out and discovered as I kept dialing it back and peeling back the onion is that most of these guys, all of them really, are socialists or communists in Venezuela, and definitely supporters of Maduro. And they will, their job is to keep the peace and side with the government when it comes to anything that the government does, and to create the narrative that there isn't a cartel halo that hangs over the government. Okay, that's it. So they'll refer to themselves as comrade, you know, or comrade Mudoro. When they start saying that, that's the same comrade language, rhetoric that Mandani people use it. They call comrade. Think about it. Think about it.
It's about oil, and it's about taking the resources of the country.
Y'all ain't doing nothing with those reasons.
Was a season where we don't have electricity, like in your area, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you are not going to have electricity in your house from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. And on Wednesday, from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. And we live with that for so.
Imagine living like that. No utilities for hours in a house. Imagine living on that grid.
Same with the water. The water is coming just 1 hour, 12 to 1. You need to take all the water that you need at that time to drink, to clean, to shower, to do everything in 1 hour. We won't need to say goodbye anymore to our families in the airport. Tell them, see you soon, knowing that it's a lie, because
you can't argue that it's about oil, because even the regime has not even used the oil money that they quote unquote, everybody's screaming that this is about oil, to improve the infrastructure of the country. Again, I'll say it, Venezuela has the largest documented oil reserve in the world, guys. And their infrastructure is this shitty.
You don't know how long it will happen until you see them again. We celebrate them because we grow up normalizing things that could never be normal, like going to the supermarket and don't find nothing on it, like have all the money that you have in your pocket, but you want to buy food and it's not food in there, knowing that you need to go and do lines at 4 a.m. in the morning, huge lines to get a bag with food, knowing that it's no medicines in the pharmacy and you need to find antibiotics in Facebook. Narcoterrorism, corruption, he stole billions of dollars. He killed a bunch of innocent people in protest. He put on jail, he tortured. Venezuela have one of...
Y'all need to stop it. Y'all just gotta stop it with this craziness, just this absurd belief that Trump came and did something to these people. Are you listening to this? This is crazy.
The biggest torture places, recruitments in the world. Yeah, that very old wise, he's still doing that. He destroyed every democratic institution that can exist in Venezuela. We vote. We have presidential election and he lose and he don't want to leave the power. So what's no other way to take him out? I am more than happy because we tried everything. This was like our last hope. This is what we was waiting for and finally happened. And I am more happy because I feel was a smooth intervention. I thought was going to be more chaotic, like with Panama years ago, but no, they reached 2 a.m. in the morning, by 3 a.m. they take the man out. They don't kill nobody. It's not even a civil person dead. So yeah, I am. A lot of people asking about the oil. All the Venezuelans know that Trump is doing this because the oil. We know this. We know that Trump is not doing this because I love Venezuelans and I care so much about them. We know that it's about the oil. But we are right now giving our oil to China and Russia, and we don't see benefits from it.
So they give the oil to China and to Russia. So all you guys screaming about oil is about the oil. They give the oil to China and to Russia with no benefit to the people. No infrastructure build out. That's why I said China is simply going into these countries, creating relationships to under the guise that it benefits the country better, roping them into debt or bartering some type of deal where they get their natural resources through oil, through whatever it may be, through exchange, to tie it up. That's it. And when a cornball tells you, and I'm telling y'all this, when cornballs tell y'all that it's about the oil, say, hell yeah, it's about the oil. Because it is about the oil. You can either have that oil in your car or that oil can be on a boat headed somewhere to China. You decide.
It's destroyed. We have nothing. We need to leave and run away and live somewhere else because there's no opportunities there. If the United States want to go back and do it, but it's China, Russia, whatever doing right now, go back. Because when the United States was there and was Halliburton and all these American companies in Venezuela, we were rich. We have money. We have opportunity.
Whoa! When the United States was there, they were rich. They had money. They had opportunities. Hilbert. See, it's a different thing between when you break a deal with, I keep saying this, with these communist countries, with these countries like China. They don't care. They don't really pay the people. And then when they get paid and they got the money in their account, you have infrastructure issues which should have been fixed because they broker deals with the government to come in. They have infrastructure issues where the money in their pocket doesn't matter. They can't spend it. The supply chain is broken. We have to realize that when we play on a larger scale in the U.S., and the U.S. has always been about this, we've got soft. We got really soft after after Reagan, honestly. Bush and Father Bush, yeah. Son Bush, too much of a people pleaser. So for that reason, we didn't get a chance to create these deals that we're talking about and have these footholds in these areas. We have to have this. That is the nature of our country. It's not going away. They need to stop lying and stop complaining. I like it to address this when there's abuse. If there is an abuse issue with the power, then let's talk about it. If we're going there and the people aren't getting the money and we're leaving it worse than what it was, let's talk about it. I'm okay for having that conversation. I want to see how the United States deal plays out in the Congo also. I want to see that. I want to see that. Then we can have those deeper conversations. But there's really nothing to talk about.
Everything. All the Venezuelans that leave the country because this man and this man regime can go back home. You don't have idea of all the Venezuelans that want to go back home. You think like we love that in Trinidad they tell us Venice go back home, or they treat us bad. It's not just in Trinidad, sorry. This is like across the world, because I understand we are everywhere. We are everywhere because we was forced to be everywhere except home. I had more comments to answer, but a lot of the questions are about the oil, so I want to tell you this. Put yourself on the shoes of an actual Venezuelan person. Put yourself in my dad's shoes that worked through years to build something, that study hard and work hard, and then one day for the other lose everything, have no job and have no option because at his age he cannot leave the country and start to work somewhere else because he's an old person, right? He don't lose just his job, he don't lose just the money, he lose his family because he can see his daughter just one time per year because his
Horrible. Just horrible. Just horrible. Horrible.
daughter need to leave the country to look for a better future. And this is not, I am not talking about my dad. I am talking about the reality of every single Venezuelan person. Like the dad of the person that clean your house, your taxi driver that probably is an engineer, a lawyer, a doctor. That reality.
Horrible. Horrible. Man, look at that. They are literally hitting the statue with a hammer for it to fall. The last time I saw something like that was in the Middle East, I believe, when they were bringing down Saddam Hussein's statue. Very similar to that. Funny, huh? Yeah, I can see all of the horrors that the left is talking about over here. I can see the horrors. I can see the trauma in their eyes. Yeah, I can see the trauma in their eyes. You're right. Trump went over there and traumatized them.